What is up, Debt Free Mafia? Hey, welcome to today's video. I wanted to talk a little bit about retirement and how much maybe you should be thinking about having ready for retirement, what that looks like, and maybe when should you retire, right? That's kind of a question that a lot of people start to ask. I also kind of have maybe what some people consider a controversial take on retirement. I don't know. To me, it's not controversial, but to a lot of other people, it might be. Let's talk about it. Guys, if you don't know me, my name is Rick. I'm a financial coach. I'm the owner of the Debt Free Mafia, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you're interested in becoming financially bulletproof, if you love personal finance content, if you love the idea of leaving a legacy to your children's children, or being able to get that dream job, that dream house, that dream vacation, whatever it is, and you just need financial freedom, well, we talk about that here, and I invite you to be here. It doesn't matter if you're debt free or not. Love for you to be a part of the Debt Free Mafia. All you gotta do is hit subscribe, hit the like button for me just as a favor, because that really helps me out. And guys, we're gonna kind of jump into it. Let's talk about retirement. Here's my controversial take. You should never retire. I don't think you should ever retire. You might be saying, what are you talking about? I want to cash in my investments and I want to sit on the beach for the rest of my life. That might be fine. That might be something that you're into, but in my opinion, we were made by God Almighty to work. That's one of the first things he charged Adam with whenever he created him in the garden. He wanted him to work the garden. He wanted him to tend to it, right? He didn't say just sit there. Also, if you haven't noticed, a lot of people who do retire and end up doing nothing end up dying. I'm not kidding. Like, a lot of people, they'll retire and die because they start to lack purpose. They start to lack being important in any way. Their life starts to become really incredibly selfish in a lot of ways, right? So, and that might not be everybody, but that's been the general sense, and I just feel a conviction that we are not supposed to retire. Now, let's talk about that. Let's say you don't like your job and you do want to retire, and you just don't know what you're going to do, right? So I think this is a great opportunity, especially if you're not retired yet. Start thinking, what are those hobbies? What could you be using your money for from retirement to be investing in those hobbies? So maybe you're big time into like RC planes or something like that. That could be considered work. You don't have to go and make a living anymore. You could put your money that you've earned already from investments, put it into starting your RC collection. Maybe you're good at it and you can start teaching other people how to do it. Maybe you can be good at hosting events and club meets, or if there are RC club meets. I don't know anything about RC airplanes or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, like, make sure that you got hobbies that you can get involved in and be able to basically work them and be able to shape them or help other people shape their hobbies, right? So that way you're still working. Doesn't mean that you got to sit at a desk job for the rest of your life. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying get something in front of you that you can work on, right? Make sure that you're still adding value to yourself, to society, to other people, whatever that might be. That's my take. Let me know in the comments below if you disagree with me. That's fine. This is a place where we want to communicate that stuff. But that's my take on it. But I kind of want to talk, like, when should you retire? And that is a really, really good question. So when I'm talking about retirement, I'm talking about whenever you should probably cash in your investments, right? When is a good time for you to do that? Be able to say, you know what? I'm tired of this job. I'm ready to call it quits this time. Honestly, guys, that comes down to you. It really does. And I don't mean to create this video just to have an open-ended, like, well, okay, well, he doesn't know either. Well, that's not what I'm trying to do. The thing is everybody's just so unique and so individual. You've heard stories before of people who have lived debt-free, got extremely serious about paying off their house, investing, and, they have their house paid for, and they've got, $8 million in the bank ready to go for investments at 45, and they're ready to stop and be able to travel the world and be missionaries, or be able to provide help in areas that they need to, or be a part of their community, or chase other dreams that they have, whatever it might be. These stories really do exist, and that's kind of what the idea behind the Debt Free Mafia is so that we can raise our next generation with this mindset of, hey, you don't have to work until you die in a job you don't like. You can take what you have, you can be smart with it, and you can set your own path rather than having to work forever. So and I say that it kind of comes down to you and your unique situation. I've met several people that have no retirement and they're 65, and it's really tragic, right? When they should retire is going to be different than when maybe you should retire. Maybe you're only 25 and you're watching this video and you have no idea. Well, the traditional age is 65, right? But depending on how well you manage your assets, it could be sooner than that. Or if you don't manage them well, it could be later than that. So it kind of comes down to it. But I think probably the most important thing you can do is you have to know what number in your head that you need to hit to be able to comfortably retire. Now, I'm going to talk towards the 65 people who are aiming to be done with their working life at 65 before moving into their hobbyhood or whatever it is. You need to have an idea of what number that is. So if you have that number, that's great. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think you need to have to retire? Because I am curious. But I kind of wanted to introduce you guys to the 4% rule. That's something that's kind of popular to a lot of different people. You know, basically it gives you an idea of how much you should retire. So let's say you're interested in the 4% rule. So this says that there are different ways to determine how much money you need to save, and I'll put this article below, to get to your retirement income you want. So one easy way is to use the formula to divide your desired annual retirement income by 4%, which is known as the 4% rule. To generate, okay, let's say you know, you're like, I could live really, really well on $80,000. So this says to generate the $80,000 cited above, for example, you would need a nest egg retirement of about $2 million. That's quite a bit. A lot of people think that I've run into too many people that think $100,000 is enough to retirement on, and that might get you by 2 years, and that's living frugally. So that's why I'm saying let's really think about that number and start to prioritize it, right? So this is to be able to get to $80,000 a year, to pay yourself $80,000 a year, you need to have a nest egg of about $2 million a year. And it says that it goes on to say that this strategy assumes a 5% return on investment after taxes and inflation, no additional retirement income. So that's not including Social Security. If you are relying on Social Security for your retirement, that fund is drying up, and there's a really good chance it might not be there whenever you are ready to retire. So do not factor in Social Security into your retirement. That is a way to set yourself up for failure. So I kind of wanted you to be thinking about that. You know, what kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to be able to travel everywhere? Do you want to be able to give super generously? Do you want to be able to leave a big sum of money to all of your kids / grandkids or relatives? You know, what does that look like? So you need to kind of find out, you know, what is it going to cost to be able to give what I want to be able to give, or to be able to provide what I want to be able to provide. Honestly, in my opinion, right now, for most millennials, $1 million is probably not going to be enough for retirement. Especially with how inflation is working right now. I think, honestly, most people need to focus. And it depends on where you live, too. So don't get me wrong. So it can be super unique. You know, most retirement professionals, they do an okay job of helping manage your money. So you can reach out to them and talk to them about the lifestyle you want to have one day, and they'll do all the math for you and show you what you need to be setting aside every month. Typically, a good rule of thumb for what I teach here at the Debt Free Mafia is I recommend that after you've paid off your debt, you focus on paying off your debt. You start your company employee match at that point after you've paid off your debt. You continue saving for an emergency fund, just because we don't want to go back into debt should something happen. But at that point, I want you to be setting aside 15 to 20% of your take-home pay every month. So let's say that you make, you know, let's say that you net $1,000 every month. So I know that's really small, but this kind of gives easy math. But that's you should be setting aside around $150 to $200 every month towards retirement. And so obviously, if you were, say, making really good money and you were making $10,000 net every month, you know, then you'd want to be setting aside $1,500 to $2,000 every month towards retirement. That way, it kind of gives you a good idea of where you're going to be. There's also calculators online you can use also to kind of try to predict how much you need to be setting aside. I would mess around with the different rates of return. Everywhere from 8 to 10% would probably be a good range to be messing around with to get a realistic result. If you luck out and get 12 to 14%, by all means, that's great, but let's focus on 8 to 10. But yeah, I kind of want you to be thinking, if you have not thought about the number that you need for retirement, it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, especially in the 40s. But if you're in your 20s and 30s, start thinking about what number you need to retire on right now. Don't hesitate. And guys, I hope that kind of gave you something just a little bit to think about. Again, let me know in the comments how much you think you need to have for retirement. I'll link the article below for the rule of 4%, just so you have an idea. Love for you to check that out, guys. I'm so thankful that you stopped by. Again, hit subscribe. Would love to have you here at the Debt Free Mafia. So appreciative of you stopping by. Again, hit the like button for me. Helps me out. And we'll catch you in the next video. Appreciate you guys. Peace.